What I'm going to show next is not really a very high level slide, but I thought it would be useful just to share this real top level summary of the three registration standards, and you can access the details of the registration standards via the relevant bodies, and I'm sure many of you already have that information. So the point I wanted to make here is really just to illustrate the broad overlap in the standards, and particularly across the what are called, usually referred to as the A and B criteria, but in terms of you differentiating between the three pathways, then clearly where you are looking for applying general and specialist engineering knowledge, or applying knowledge and understanding that's particularly applicable to a science discipline, or the applying, sorry, I'm moving us on there, application of knowledge in the environmental area, then that is where you have quite different criteria and expectations around the sort of evidence that you bring forward. But I think you can see across the rest of the slide, it's broadly similar. The requirements across things like effective leadership and management, of self, of the area of your responsibility, rather than that having to be a formal management role, effective communication, continuing development, ethics, sustainability aspect. So you can see there's a broad crossover. And what that means from the NI point of view is that whilst we use specialist assessors in each area, so they are themselves registrants at the grade that you're applying for or above, so C size, assess C size, and so on and so forth. What it does mean is we operate very much standard processes and procedures, and it allows us to manage the process in a consistent way and support people in a consistent way. So in terms of applying, we'll come on to it in a couple of slides, but what you would have is an application form that would address the particular registration standard. So if you were applying for member and chartered engineer, then you would need to select the application form that covered member and chartered engineer. Similarly, member, chartered scientist, so on and so forth. So we'll show you where you can get those forms. But what we've done is we've streamlined those forms recently to make them easier and to make it less repetitious than it has been in the past. So hopefully that will be a positive improvement. If you need any help in discussing, well, should I be going for incorporated engineer or chartered engineer, or we sometimes get quite as well people saying I'm not sure whether I want to go for chartered scientist or chartered engineer, can I have a chat? Then that is the situation where do contact us, and we will talk it through with you and involve appropriate assessors as required. So that really was just to kind of give you a feel for that. We will, another webinar plug on the 26th of May, explore this in much more detail. And if you've got individual inquiries, you get the slides, but membership@nuclearinst.com is the place to direct those inquiries, and we'll pick those up and respond to them. Just want to touch on another thing that may be an issue for some of you, may not, and that is we offer two different pathways, if you like, towards, and this is particularly to do with chartership, but it can be to do with incorporated engineer as well, and that is what we call the standard route and the individual route. And the difference between these two is if you possess a relevant master's degree applicable to the science or the engineering or the environmental pathways, then that is deemed to be a big indicator of you having the relevant underpinning academic knowledge. Within the engineering space, the Engineering Council actually accredits degrees at bachelor's and master's level against incorporated and chartered engineers. So there is actually a database that you can search to say, is the degree I completed actually accredited? Any help needed with that, you can access that through the Engineering Council's website. But if you need any help with that, then again, it's a case of coming back to the NI membership team and we can do that. If you do possess, sorry, I should say within science and environmental, that is only defined as a relevant master's degree. So again, if you've got queries in that sense, then do come back to us. At an incorporated level, it is a bachelor's degree. And again, we will be happy to help if you want to kind of understand whether you meet that requirement or not. So that first stage in both the individual route is possession of a relevant master's degree or demonstrate equivalent M-level learning. If you have the relevant master's degree, then that's a big tick in the box. Then it is about presenting your evidence of competence and commitment against the registration standards. And that's where the application form really comes in. And that's where you're going to complete the application form and really capture that evidence. And finally, it's that formal commitment to abide by the Code of Professional Conduct. For an individual route, if you found that either you haven't got a degree at a master's level qualification, or the degree that you have got isn't accredited or recognised, then we have pathways and ways that we can support you. And it's important at that point that you get in touch and we have a chat about what would be the most appropriate route. And we can do things like what we call technical reports and technical interviews. We can do a mapping of an enhanced CV. There's different pathways available, but the net result is that you do have to demonstrate equivalent of that M-level learning. And that in itself is quite an undertaking. But the NI will work with you. We would agree a plan of action to do that. And then we would assign someone to effectively mentor, support you as and when you need that support. Once you go beyond that point, then the process you'll see is exactly the same. So that's about bringing forward that evidence of competence and commitment. So I'll just park that there. If you do feel that you fall into the individual route, please give us a call or an email, and we will work with you on that to discuss the options and the best way forward.